and I just spilt all of my label sticks. Hey, let's get another bed planted. If you're new around here, my name is Angela, and this is Angela's Seeds to Suppers, where I try to teach you everything that I've learned and am still learning about going from the seed all the way to preserving, cooking, baking, using the things that you've grown. And today I want to get radishes, carrots, turnips, and maybe even something else planted in this little 4-foot raised bed. Here's my winter sown turnips, very thick. I definitely overplanted, so I'm probably not going to be able to salvage all of these, but that's okay. These ladies will love to eat any little turnip greens that I have left over. I also have a few Nantes carrots that have sprouted. We're going to try to get some radishes. I don't know if I'm going to plant the wasabi ones or not. They were free seed, but I have a few other varieties in here I'm going to get planted. Now, in this end is my south-facing end. We've got north end here, so I'm going to start with radishes, carrots, and then turnips, and we'll see if we have any space left for anything else. Okay, first things first. This was a new bed last year, so it had lots of wood chips in the bottom, and you can see it's settled a little bit. So we're putting in some raised bed and in-ground soil that I got at Costco. Just to top it off, it's also going to feed it and give it nutrients from this composted soil. This is in my backyard. This is a very neglected area in the wintertime just because of the weather. I pretty much don't go past the chicken coop unless I have to. So I literally just pulled out last year's pepper and tomato plants, which is really bad and you shouldn't do. So you need to get those out of there in the fall. Those do as I recommend, don't do as I do kind of things. Okay, we are ready to plant. Now, ideally, I would water this down and let it settle a little bit, but I am fighting a rainstorm that is on the way. Not fighting it, but trying to avoid a rainstorm that is on the way. And my hose bib is not turned on from the inside yet. So I don't want to carry like 5 containers of water out here and have to run back and forth into the kitchen. So I'm just going to go ahead and get planted and hope for the best. Going to start with some radishes right here. Okay, French breakfast radish is one of my favorites. They are a cylindrical radish, but they're delicious. And I did quite a few. Probably not going to be able to pick it up very easily. I'm going to put some soil over the top, just a thin 1/4-inch layer, and then water them in. But goodness, I probably did easily 50 to 60 in this little space. One reason I like radishes, they don't take up a lot of space, and they're great pickled for our Asian dishes. Okay, these Nantes carrots are ones that I winter sowed, and I kept saying, I didn't see how you could do this because I didn't know if you could transplant carrots. And then I remembered that, and I'm doing this one-handed, so it's a little awkward, but I remember that when I have started seed before and I have them way too close together, I have moved seeds, or I have moved the sprouts before. I'm trying to get all this forest crap out of here. Sorry. So we're trying it because I've had better germination doing this with the winter sowing than I normally have. So I just have to get down to the green under the water. And if I remember under the soil, and if I remember right, these are a small carrot, so they don't need a lot of space between them. And I do not pay attention to the square foot gardening because I do intensive and I get things as close as I can. And as soon as they're ready, they come out and we plant something else. In fact, you can see my trellis right here good time to say that, the radishes will grow so fast, I will be able to put cucumber or pole beans or something else, maybe peas, maybe not peas, it'll probably be too late for peas, but something else in here after the radishes are up that will be able to trellis up this. I do think I feel good about this so far. We'll see how they do, but typically when I start carrots from seed, number one, I have terrible germination rates. And number two, the sprouts always seem to be too far above the ground, and I very quickly see white, just like I did inside the winter sowing bucket. So this gives me an opportunity to get the whole root underground, and we'll see, like that needs some more soil around it. We'll see how they do once they're watered in. I might have to pull up some more soil around them. Okay, now with these turnips, I really only grow turnips for the greens for my chickens. So I'm just kind of with my finger making a little trench here, and then I want to make sure that the roots, like all that white needs to be underground. Now what happens typically, if they do well, and again, these were started winter sowing. I've never done that with turnips before, but what will happen typically is I overplant them and I just start thinning them out. Here, I'm just taking a little chunk from the winter sowing, and I thin them out as they grow, and I do end up with some edible turnips. But primarily I am trying to get green. So they are very close together. If I were doing it for the turnip root, I would be spreading them out to make sure I can get big turnips. As it is, since I will thin them out, I typically will get some decent sized turnips too. Here's what I'm doing. Just a little trench, taking a little chunk of this from our winter sowing bucket and just kind of laying it in there so that I can get the roots covered. So I'm kind of just laying them at an angle. So then I can get them covered up. And I'm just covering all of everything up to the green. And again, if I do not have perfectly formed turnips, I'm okay with that. This is primarily for the greens for my chickens. Thing to go in here, I missed some garlic last year. Well, it was garlic that I planted. I didn't think it did well, and I must have left some cloves behind, and now they are growing into new garlic. So these were planted, they would have been planted in the fall of 2024, came back because they didn't actually grow well. So I'm going to give them a shot, see if they do anything in here. If not, that's okay. But they definitely are not going to grow well like this. Okay, I'm going to do this one-handed. So pardon me if it's not, if it's kind of bumpy. I just kind of dig a good-sized hole because you want to get all of this, root in the ground, and I'm just separating these out very gently. They come apart very easily because they were individual cloves. Every clove in a garlic head will become a new garlic. And this is, I can tell by the purple on there, it is a variety that I bought from Baker Creek a few years ago. It does have a purple skin, but it is just a white garlic. And I could look up what the variety is. I just don't remember it offhand. Okay, this is the part I really need two hands for. Trying to make sure that whole root and everything is underground. Now, I will be able to just pull some soil back, kind of how I'm doing now, and verify if they are actually becoming bulbs. Probably late May, early June, I will be able to see if they are bulbing up or not. If they're not, I'll just pull them up and put something else in here. If they are, they're probably going to be ready by July anyway, and I'll still have an opportunity to put a succession planting of zucchini or cucumber or pole beans or some bush beans or something in here. after they are out. In the meantime, even if they don't bulb up and do anything, they're going to be great pest deterrent for all of the other things that are in here. The odor not only keeps bugs away, but will help keep deer and I'm hoping squirrel from digging in here. But I am going to put a hoops and a frost cover on these because we're still in the first half of March, but we are supposed to be getting some cold weather again, very cold weather in about a week. So I want to make sure that all of these are protected. Okay, so if I counted right, there's like 32, 33 potential garlics that wouldn't have had a chance to develop. It's not costing me anything. They were volunteer, so I'm not out anything if they don't develop. And in the meantime, like I said, they can provide great pest control. I thought it might be a little confusing when I say that I planted them in 2024, but you always plant garlic in the fall for the following year, at least the varieties that I grow. That's what we do here in Grow Zone 6B. So I planted them usually September, October 2024. They should have come up last year and been harvested, but where I had them under this currant bush and they were on the other side there, they just didn't develop. They didn't do anything. Well, evidently there were still cloves down in there, and now they have volunteered and come up. So got stuff from this trellis in my Anyway, so I'm just going to water this and it'll be good to go. Oh, I am going to put a couple of hoops on there and put some frost cloth on it to keep squirrel out and to protect it for the next week or so until the weather. Hopefully that will be our last cold spell. I'm really hoping we don't even get that cold spell because my plum tree is getting ready to bloom. And it's not supposed to frost after your plum tree blooms. So here's hoping that the forecast is wrong because I don't want to lose. The plums were amazing last year. First ones I've ever gotten, and I don't want to lose them this year. So I'll keep you guys posted. Garlic, turnips, carrots, and French breakfast radish. If you're interested in more content like this, subscribe, and I always appreciate any engagement. Like, share, comment, or all the things. Let me know what you're planting where you are down in the comments below. And until next time, happy gardening.